Hello, warriors. Welcome to the You Movement. I am B. For those of you that don't know me, I have been on an extensive healing journey for the last 5 years in which I have dramatically changed my life, losing 130 pounds, curing diabetes, sleep apnea, fibromyalgia, depression, brain fog, memory loss, migraines, sinus issues, a buffalo hump, lower back immobility, couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, and the list goes on and on. There were more on there. And what started it all off, the dramatic change, was I hit my rock bottom. And my rock bottom was not being trapped in bed. My rock bottom was not years of depression. My rock bottom was when the diabetes became, it went from pre-diabetic into diabetes, and all of a sudden I was incontinent and couldn't go very far or do very much without having to run to the bathroom and never getting there in time. And for me, that was mortifying and humiliating, and I felt icky and it smelled and it was gross. It was gross. That was my rock bottom for me, of going like, no, I need to take this very, very seriously. Because the doctors previously had been like, you're pre-diabetic, you should go to our pre-diabetes clinic and listen to all the people talk about how to properly eat. And I went to those, and they were crazy. They were crazy. What they were telling people to eat and what they were telling people not to eat. And even though I was as sick as a dog, I knew what the advice that they were giving was only going to make me sicker. And so I began researching, and I researched all kinds of diets. I researched keto diets and carnivore diets and anti-inflammatory diets, anti-candida diets. I researched the Mediterranean diet. I researched, you name it. I researched it, the Atkins diet, all of them. And what I came up with was what I took a little bit of information from all of them that resonated as truth, and came to my own diet plan that I'm going to call the KISS plan, which is Keep It Simple, Stupid Diet. Because a lot of these diets were convoluted, and a lot of these diets were going to cost way too much money. And a lot of these diets were suggesting eating foods that weren't easily accessible to where I live. I don't live near an ocean, so freshly caught fish isn't exactly like Mediterranean diet's great. If you live in the Mediterranean, or if you live near an ocean and you can get fresh fish all the time. If you do live near an ocean, please eat a lot of fish. You should do. But it's more expensive for me to get a lot of fresh fishes here in the middle of Ontario. I'm landlocked. So unless, I go up north and go ice fishing with somebody. Sydney, you promised to take me ice fishing one day. One of my followers. But it's true. I've never gone and I really want to. So let's see here. I'm going to talk about my Keep It Simple, Stupid diet for a little bit, and explain why I think you should potentially go on the Keep It Simple, Stupid diet, the KISS diet, especially if you are suffering from any of the conditions that I mentioned, or any others that are have a basis in being an inflammatory response. Okay, so our gut brain has communication. There's communication between these two things. So if you're like, oh, but I'm not suffering from physical problems, I just have anxiety, depression, and a whole bunch of memory loss, this diet's for you too. And if you are in your physical body and you're like, oh, well, I don't really need to worry about my body, just, my diet. It's not my diet that's the problem. I just have chronic, jock itch, or athlete's foot, or rashes, and stuff like that. That's got nothing to do. I've got arthritis. I've got lupus. I've got diabetes. See what I mean? See what I'm saying? It all boils down to your body is inflamed, and is angry at you for eating certain foods that is making the body inflamed. Inflammation can only come from so many sources. So you're either rubbing it on your skin and then you have a rash and you have like dermatitis and you're like, oh geez, this cream does not work well with me. Maybe I'll stop using this cream. You know, you wouldn't keep using it and going, I don't know why I keep having a rash on my hand every time I use this cream. But you see, we do that with food because there's this time delay. We say to ourselves, well, I'm just going to eat this yummy bowl of creamy fettuccine and I'm fine while I'm eating it. 20 minutes later, I'm still fine. It's not bothering me. An hour later, running to the bathroom. Yeah, there's a time delay. It takes a while to work its way all the way down to the place where you might have leaky gut. What the fuck is leaky gut? Your gut has lining all around it. And if that lining is constantly being irritated and scratched at things that is like attacking it because the balance of stomach acids and everything else is imbalanced in there, what happens is your nice, beautiful lining gets perforated and then all the stuff comes on through and swims out into your bloodstream and goes up into your sinuses and you're like, I have sinusitis again. I don't know why I'm always sick. Right. So my point is, wherever in your body there is issue doesn't necessarily mean that's because what you're doing in that particular area, you know, it's not as obvious as this deodorant gives me a rash. It is, I eat this food goes through my system. There is a time delay. Once it gets to the stomach, there's a perforation that happens, and some of these inflammatory foods and bacterias and all kinds of other crazy little creatures and whatnot in a microscopic level penetrate, go into the bloodstream, swim around and go, hey, I like it up here in your ear. I like it there. I'm going to swim all the way down to your big toe because I can grow fungus there. Right? So we are our own ecosystem. And what we feed our ecosystem it has so much control over our health and wellness. So we need to put our own ecosystem back in balance. And unfortunately, the majority of foods that are available to us and packaged to us as healthy aren't necessarily so. You have to remember, where there is money involved, they are motivated by their income and their profits, not by your stomach and by the gas that produced an hour later after eating that particular food. They don't care. Because then when you have an inflammation in your body, you then go to the doctor and you say, I'm having heartburn. I'm having lactose responses to my, every time I eat ice cream, I get really gaseous. Do you have an anti-gas medicine that I could have? How about instead of the anti-gas medicine and the anti-this medicine and the anti-that medicine, you treat your food like medicine and you give yourself the right foods? So, my diet is what cured me of multiple conditions, the diabetes, and with it, the peripheral neuralgia that shot down my left leg and into my foot that felt like stepping on a live wire every time I stepped down slightly in the wrong way. The sleep apnea, because my sinuses were so inflamed that they put me, my oxygen levels dropped to about 80%. They put me on one of those horrific CPAP machines that was like being drowned with air. And it was brutal. And I was like, I can't live with this machine for the rest of my life. I need to sort this stuff out. So I need to clear the inflammation in my body. So what I started to do was create a diet based on these needs, based on this information, and based on my goals. So, number one, let's start with breakfast, okay? The majority of foods that are called breakfast foods are dessert. They're not breakfast foods because your number one enemy, if you have inflammation, disease, disorders, anything in your body, is sugar. It's sugar. And sugar is hidden in everything. So all of you out there that are looking to get healthier, you're all of a sudden going to become incredible observers. Okay, we're already great at observing ourselves and our minds on this spiritual journey, but we need to start observing all the labels. And you're going to be like, oh my God, look at what the carbohydrate count is in this. Carbohydrates equal sugar. Okay, carbohydrates turn into sugar in your body. So you're going to pick up all your foods, and if you're eating things like cereals, carbohydrate and sugar in a box that's got healthy written on it, then you pour dairy on it and it's like the perfect storm. Did you ever see that movie? Yeah, that's the perfect storm. So we need to alter how we think about certain foods and give up certain foods, because we're warriors and we can give up what we need to give up to get healthy. If you want to lose 130 pounds, you can't do it by like, well, I'm just going to tone down on how many potatoes I eat, French fries. I didn't eat French fries today. No, bye-bye French fries, carbohydrate. Fried in like an unhealthy oil, unless you're making it at home in an avocado oil. Okay, so breakfast. Let's get back to breakfast. We'll try to get through this meal by the day. Now, I subscribe to the belief that you should stick to this every single day as much as possible. And I've done videos in the past on the Spiritual Warrior's breakfast, which later on, because my diet has changed so dramatically, I don't like a lot of heavy foods anymore. But if you're used to eating heavy foods, if you're used to eating like a big plate of food with a lot of carbohydrate on it, then this is where you're going to start, because it's going to be too difficult for you to jump into the smoothie, which is I've also done a video on right away, because you're not going to feel as full. So I don't need to feel as full anymore. I don't need as much food anymore to sustain me. But at the beginning, because I was used to eating 3 crullers and being still hungry, or like a full pizza all to myself, medium size, not like king or anything, but like still, if you're used to eating a lot of food, you need to have something in your stomach that has some weight. So every single day, without fail, I ate, and I'll explain why I ate each of these things. First, I made my own breakfast mix to give me that sensation that I'm having something full. Within the breakfast mix is equal parts. So go to your bulk store, go to your health store, go everywhere you need to get yourself a big container. And in the big container, you're going to pour in 1/3 of chia seeds. Why? Because chia is a high good quality protein that when it's in your system, it bulks up. And as it bulks up, that means it's going to clear out your colon that's all wedged up and jammed up with foods and everything else in there. We want to clear that out. It's like you buy yourself exfoliator for your skin, right? Well, I don't. I use a face cloth, but you do, right? So if you're willing to buy yourself a nice fancy exfoliator for your skin, buy yourself a nice fancy exfoliator for your colon, and we're going to call that chia. And with that nice exfoliator, you know how exfoliators, some of them have like walnut shells that give a really deep cleanse. We're going to add a deep cleanse element to it, and we're going to do 1/3 of whole grain buckwheat grouts. Now, this isn't a wheat. This is a buckwheat, so it's a different plant. Because I do not subscribe to any wheats whatsoever, because wheat is not what it used to be. I think there's a book and a documentary called Wheat Belly. You might want to check that out if you want more information. A lot of people have gluten tolerances that they don't realize they have. as well as the fact that even if they went for testing for gluten and they're like, you're fine, it's you don't have a problem with gluten, the fact is you could have a problem with glyphosate, which is what is sprayed all over top of the wheat plant and then gets ground up and put into the breads, the cereals, everything else that you eat. Wheat is one of the no-nos, our top no-nos. So we have top no-no list. Okay, top no-no, sugar. Top no-no 2, wheat. Okay, so those are top no-nos. We'll continue to more top no-nos. So whole buckwheat grouts, chia. So the buckwheat grouts are full, it's a superfood, full of all kinds of good stuff. And then it's going to help clear out everything in and make you feel full in your belly. The third superfood that we're throwing into our jar there is going to be hemp hearts. Now, Canada has a great mass producer of hemp hearts, so buy Canadian. Buy local. I'm just joking. So a third. Chia, buckwheat grouts, whole, and hemp hearts. Shake it. And then pour about a half a cup, a quarter cup, a full cup. I don't know how hungry you are. That's what's going to be what's going to weigh you down. That's what's going to make you feel full. Note, chia expands in your gut. So if you're going to be eating the KISS diet, you want to be consuming large amounts of water. If you are not consuming large amounts of water while you are consuming chia, it can result in constipation. So you need to give the chia something to absorb because it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's going to also suck up all the icky, gross that's in your stomach and take it all with it and help you eliminate it. So there's your cereal blend mix. So we're going to pour some of that into our bowl. Next, we're going to add dairy-free yogurt. Dairy-free yogurt. You have a couple of options with dairy-free yogurt. I'll tell you my personal favorites are almond and or coconut. Because you want the probiotics, because everything that's out of balance in the gut that's permeating through into the bloodstream, we want to bring back into balance. We want to feed the good, healthy bacteria, make the healthy stuff strong, and make the other stuff, we're going to deprive it of food. So it's in your stomach going, feed me sugar, feed me carbohydrates, feed me. And we're going to be like, no, we're not feeding you, you little fuckers. You're making me sick. I've had enough of you. Absolutely not. I'm going to feed the quiet guys that are sitting in the corner going, I'm weak because I'm not getting any probiotics. So we're going to feed ourselves every single day probiotics. Okay? And I don't mean you have to go out to the store and buy yourself fancy probiotics, but if you want to and you have the money for it, great. If you don't, go to the store and buy yourself coconut or almond-based coconut yogurts. And you can get yourself a vanilla flavor with no sugar in it, low sugar in it. Read the sugars in it. If you're getting yourself papaya tropical fruit flavored yogurt, yeah, look at the sugars. And that's a no, because we go back to our first no-no, which was sugar. So we're looking at for the lowest possible sugars, highest possible probiotics. There is also oat, so you can try that. I didn't like the oat one personally, but you can try it. I think the carbohydrate count in it might be a little bit higher, but as I said, I tried it once and it was a no for me. I've recently discovered a probiotic Greek style coconut yogurt, and it's a little bit more money, but oh my god, it tastes good. It's got higher protein in it too, so yum for that. So dairy-free yogurt. So our third no-no is dairy. I'm sorry for all the dairy lovers out there. I'm going to give you some bad news. You are not a cow. Maybe somebody called you that one time. I certainly was called a cow a couple of times, or a manatee. I used to call myself a manatee, in fact. But we are not meant to be the size of a heifer. And there's multiple reasons why you shouldn't eat dairy. But number one, are you trying to lose weight? But you're eating a food that creates animals to turn into 500 pounds to 1 ton beasts. There are hormones in dairy that make beasts. I don't want to be a beast. I want to be a human size. So I don't want the hormones that are natural hormones for a baby cow to turn into a big cow. I don't want to be a cow. I want to be human size. Okay? That's one reason not to eat dairy. The second reason not to eat dairy is because you don't have 4 stomachs. Because you're not a cow. Let's go back to that one. You're not a cow, which means digesting it is incredibly difficult. You weren't born with 4 different stomach compartments to break down things and enzymes in different ways. So that's number 2. Number 3, dairy produces inflammation and mucus in your body. Okay, so it creates all the phlegm. So if you've got sinus issues, if you've got catarrh, if you've got lungs that are always like, coughing up chunks, if you've got, gooey, ooey areas in your body, you don't want mucus. If you have mucus problems and breathing problems, then you need to not be on dairy. Okay. Number 4 reason not to eat dairy is if you are neurodivergent, I'm just going to let you know that both wheat and dairy are known to make your anxiety worse. So let's say your problem, you don't think your problem has anything to do with food, but they've done scientific studies to show that both of those foods exacerbate your anxiety symptoms. By the way, let's just add, so does food coloring and food preservatives. So those will add to our no-nos list. So now we've got 5 on our no-nos list. No sugar, no wheat, no dairy, no food coloring, no preservatives. I'm taking all the good fun away, aren't I? I apologize for that, but we'll continue. So we've got our bowl, we're still in breakfast and building our no-nos list at the same time. So our breakfast, we have our mix, our dry mix. We have our yogurt in on top. And now we're going to add some berries. If you have frozen berries, that's great. If you can get organic berries, that's even better. If you have fresh, organic, mixed berries, that's the penultimate. That's fantastic if you can get that. Now, I couldn't because it's winter here. I can't always get that. So I get myself a giant bag of mixed berries, and that would be the fruit, the primary fruit that I would consume. Wait, what? You're taking away my fruit? Yeah, I'm taking away a large majority of your fruit. Why? No-nos list. Number 1, sugar. Fructose is sugar. Did you know that there's like 99 names for sugar? Fructose and carbohydrates are both types of sugar. So if you're enjoying every single day bananas and wondering why you're not losing weight or wondering why you're still having inflammatory responses, it's because you're eating too much sugar. A banana is a treat. It really, really is. It's so high in sugar. So you should not be eating tropical fruits while you are trying to, now I'm not saying don't ever eat them, but you got to treat them like a treat. Treat them like a treat. It's like, oh, I haven't had a banana this month. That's a treat. A treat is not once a day. A treat is not once a week. A treat is once a month. Oh, I haven't had this in 3 weeks. I would love to have a papaya. Yes, papayas are lovely. Sugar. So when it comes to fruits, you're going to write down fruits, acceptable fruits to eat on my list. Berries, cranberries, green apples, lemons for your water, limes for your water. And then you're going to just kind of leave it there. And anything else you're going to treat as a treat. With our collection of breakfast that we're going to add a scoopful of greens powders. Okay? And you can get at different price points everywhere in there because the greens that you want to be consuming have a purpose. Especially if you're consuming the chlorella and the spirulina because they are binders. Other binders includes things like cilantro and parsley. Those are super good to be eating if you can manage them into your diet as well. Especially if you have candida overgrowth or other heavy metal toxicities or things like that, because binders go through your system, they swim around and they go, you don't belong here, I'm taking you out with me. So these are superfoods. So get yourself a nice quality soup, greens powders. Make sure that it has like spirulina, chlorella, maybe moringa powder, maybe some wheatgrass, maybe some dried spinach. You know, there's a whole bunch of things in there. Everybody needs their greens. Greens are good for you. And the algae greens are even the better for you because they absorb so much light. So then you're going to put that into your mix as well. And then you're going to eat that. And then if later on you're like, this is like too heavy a thing for me, I'm going to move into the smoothies mix. So part 2, for those that are wanting something a little bit different, is I moved into the smoothie mix. So I did an entire video on smoothies. Please go feel to check it out. And it wasn't so long ago, maybe a couple months ago at most, but I'll just quickly review the ingredients that is in the smoothie because it just slightly jumped. You have all your berries, again, berries, your dairy-free yogurt, because we don't eat dairy. In my mix of super cereal mix, I've taken out the buckwheat grouts because they don't taste good ground up. And I've replaced it with flax seeds. So now I have flax seeds, chia, and hemp in my canister of superfoods. And then I have a protein powder, a nice blend of my greens still go in there. I've added to my fruit some frozen cranberries to help the kidneys heal even more, as well as frozen avocados, because we need healthy fats. Stop the war on fat. The fat's not the problem. It depends on the type of fat that you're eating. That's what the problem is. Avocado is a super good fat for you. And in a smoothie, you barely even notice it. So I have my avocados in there. And then you can contemplate. I don't do this much anymore because I don't have candida overgrowth, but I used to. And when I did have candida overgrowth and I was trying to kill out all the things that were in my stomach that were out of balance that I didn't want there anymore, I would put in a heaping tablespoon of coconut oil, because coconut oil is your best friend for everything and everywhere, always. And coconut oil is antifungal, antimicrobial, antibacterial, anti-yuckial. It'll take care of all the things that you don't want, all the yuck. So nice dose of healthy fat in there. And you blend that all up with some nice purified water, and off you go. So that's your breakfast. Breakfast A or breakfast B, make your choice. On the topic of fats, since I mentioned the good fats, which is avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil. Yeah, those are kind of it. I don't really consume any other oils, maybe sesame oil once in a blue mood. But so ding, ding, ding. Number 6, no foods, no list. Canola oil and vegetable oils. Canola oil is very inflammatory to your system. It's not, what is a canola? There's no such thing on the earth that's called canola. It's a manufactured oil that comes from grain. It's from corn. Corn is a grain. Corn is not a vegetable, and you shouldn't be consuming it. It is very inflammatory and causes a lot of health issues. So when it comes to your oils that you buy in your house, leave it at avocado oil if you want to drizzle some on your salad, or olive oil, even better. Drizzle that on your salad. Cook with your coconut oil. Eat your coconut oil. Bathe in your coconut oil. Rub your coconut oil on your body. Use it as a hair conditioner. Put it on your lips. Put it in your ears, put it up your nose, swish it in your mouth. Like, seriously, you can literally do anything with coconut oil. Nah. I got a little sly side to me in there. Lunch. Okay, so what we're not going to eat is sandwiches, because sandwiches are made from grain, that wheat again. So if you want to keep eating like wheat-like foods that aren't wheat, yes, there's gluten-free options out there that you can buy. I simply just don't eat them because, well, they don't taste very good, to be honest with you. But there are some ancient grain ones that you could get away with. But they're still high in carbohydrates, so you might want to think long and hard. Do I want to eat this spelt bread? Is it really so important to me that I have bread? Could I give up my bread? Could I give up this carbohydrate? I really want to lose the weight. I think I'm going to give up the bread. Great, good. Now what am I going to eat for lunch? We're going to eat the most boring lunch on the planet. But that's not why we're eating. We're not eating because it's exciting. We're eating because it's functional. The KISS diet is functional eating. I should have noted at the beginning of this, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm just somebody that managed to lose weight and cure my body of a whole bunch of diseases. So just in case nobody caught that at the beginning, I am not a nutritionist. And I disagree with what nutritionists say, because nutritionists are educated by companies that pay for their programs by food corporations. So yes, a little bit biased, and I have talked in a previous video about my going to a diet nutrition class where I was told not to eat avocados, eat low-fat yogurt. Ooh, low-fat. No, we don't eat low-fat. Anything that's low-fat equals chemical shitstorm. Okay, if you take out the natural fat in something and you have to replace it with some sort of something to cause flavor, it's either going to be sugar or it's going to be a whole bunch of words you can't pronounce, and then you don't know what they are. So just because it says Nutra on it, or healthy this, or happy that, that doesn't mean that's what you're consuming. So don't consume anything ever that says low fat. If you're going to eat something that has fat in it, eat something that has fat in it. Fat is not the problem. It's the type of fat that's the problem. And it's the carbohydrate and the sugar that's the real problem. Okay? So she told me not to eat avocados, not to eat low-fat yogurt, and to replace, and that she was telling the others to replace their soda drinks. But we're not drinking soda anymore because we quit sugar. But we're with diet pop. Oh, my dear God. Please, 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 for the love of God and all that is holy, do not eat aspartame. Don't do it. It's a neurotoxin. So you want to deal with brain fog and confusion and anxiety and inflammation in the body? How about have a neurotoxin in your body and call it Diet Coke? No, please. If you need to have a pop, if you 100% cannot survive without your cola, then find one that has stevia. Okay, stevia is the sweetener, and they exist. They just exist in the health section, and no, they don't taste like Coke, and no, they don't taste like Diet Coke. I would personally replace it with water with your lemons and limes. And if you don't like water with your lemons and limes, teas. There's a million flavors of teas available to you. Non-caffeinated, herbal, wonderful types of teas that you can have. That's way you're getting medicine, because teas are medicine. They are herbs, therefore they are medicine. Oh, I got a sore tummy. I'm going to have ginger tea. Oh, I'm feeling a little bit, off. I'm going to have a peppermint tea. Oh, I'm not sleeping very well. I'm going to have a valerian tea. Oh, see, I could do an entire thing just on teas. But we're not. We're still trying to get to lunch, and I haven't even got to lunch yet because I got sidetracked on oils and fats. So we want to consume healthy fats. We don't want to consume unhealthy fats. Unhealthy fats, canola oil. Healthy fats, coconut oil, olive oil, and avocados. But we need a lot of protein in our diet. In our breakfast, protein came from the yogurt, and that's fantastic, as well as the chia and the hemp. But we need as much protein as we get, because when we're cutting out carbohydrate and sugar dependency, we need to replace it with protein to keep our muscles everything else functioning and doing all our energy. We get our energy from one or the other. We can't get our energy from both. So we're going to start making homemade bone broth. Yep. I saw everybody's face just go, mwah, mwah. Food is not meant to be the best thing in the entire world. We're not dependent upon food. We are dependent upon food being functional. The functionality that food provides, the nutrition that food provides, the healing that food provides. And bone broth is going to heal your gut. We still have to heal the gut. We're changing what we've eaten so far so that we're feeding the good bacteria, we're killing the bad bacteria, we're giving ourselves antioxidants with the berries, but we actually have to heal the gut. And the only way to heal the gut is through collagen. And I don't mean some sort of pill that, is dried down and freeze dried and I don't know where it comes from or what quality it is. Bone broth. The best source of collagen is in bones. And listen, I am sorry if I am upsetting anyone from a moral point of view. Your health is reliant upon eating and consuming what is in the food chain on this planet that is provided for us. So with grace, we say thank you very much for this. The way that I view it, and I'm sorry if anybody disagrees with me, but the lettuce has consciousness, the mushroom has consciousness, the cow has consciousness, I have consciousness, the algae has consciousness. If it is alive, it has consciousness. Therefore, the only way to stay alive is to eat live things that were alive, whether it be kale, a soybean, or a cow. And I apologize. And yes, there are ethical farms and there are not ethical farms, but we're not going to go down this rabbit hole too far, because what I'm trying to explain to you is that the world has provided us with a healing medicine that is in bones, okay? In poultry bones, in your beef bones, in your animal bones. And when you make your own homemade broth, so any small bones, poultry bones, little bones, you want to put in a slow cooker, just the bones. You don't add like this or that or the other. You don't need to add anything else than water and bones, filtered water preferably, and bones, because I'll mention with filtered water, what's popping in right now is you want to make sure your water is filtered so that you're not consuming fluoride. So let's add more to our list of no-nos. No. Fluoride and chlorine is in a lot of tap water. So we want a filtration system. I myself have a countertop filtration system that's similar to the Big Berkeley, but it's Dalton. It's a different company out of the UK. Otherwise, my favorite brand that I highly recommend that now has a glass one is Santivia. I believe they're an American company, but they probably have offices other places in the world. And they have a glass top filtration system. At the bottom, they have little rocks to remineralize the water after it's gone through 9 layers of filtration. Is what I recommend, because it's one of the most superior, and it's at lower price point than the big stainless steel ones. Or of course, if you have ones that are built into your water system, even better, but I don't have that. And also be aware that a lot of those water filtration systems that are built in under the counter, they remove everything's bad, but they also remove some of the good stuff too, which are the minerals. So you want to remineralize your water so it's alkaline. Your water needs to be alkaline. So you can buy yourself alkalinity tablets that go into the bottom. Even if you have just a Brita at home, you could put a couple of those at the bottom of your Brita, and they're just like stones with little calcium and little things, so that your water is sitting in it and it's remineralizing your water. They also have the Santivia company, and now I don't normally do shout outs to companies, but I am today. They've got these little sticks that you can put into your water bottle. So wherever you fill up your water bottle, it's remineralizing your water, turning your water alkaline. Not all water is created equally. So the cleaner the water that you can get, the more alkaline you can get, the far better for your body, because even your water could be causing problems to your health. If your water, which is what you live off of more than anything, and somebody is recommending me, I check out hydrogen water, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to check this out. This sounds interesting, but I haven't checked it out yet. So let me know if you take hydrogen water and if you've noticed effects, because I'm interested in that. So yes, bones and water. Now, if it's bigger bones, your beef bones, you want to roast those in the oven for a good long while so that they brown, so you get a nice caramelly color and flavor. The small bones, you want to cook in your slow cooker for 24 hours. So if you don't have a slow cooker, put them on a big stock pot in the back of the stove and leave it on low. Your big bones, you want to cook on the stove for 48 hours. And you want to every single day have a cup of bone broth. Now, bone broth sounds pretty damn boring, doesn't it? And tastes pretty damn boring. Yep, it does. So we're going to add some zing to our bone broth to make it even more functionally medicinal for you, because with the bone broth, we're healing the gut. So while we're healing the gut, why don't we feed those little bacterias again, the good ones, the good bacterias, the ones that are quietly in the corner going, may I please have some probiotics? But we're not listening to. So now we're going to feed it even more. But this time, we're going to feed it pre and probiotics. Did you know that there's both a pre and a probiotic? Yes, pre and probiotics. So what you're going to do is you're going to go buy yourself some kimchi. There's lots of different flavors of kimchi out there, but it's nice fermented. Anything fermented is going to have pre and probiotics for you. Cabbage. Also, real sauerkraut, not vinegar sauerkraut, but sauerkraut that has been allowed to ferment and will be found in the fridge. It won't be found on the shelf. If it's found on the shelf, it's not fermented. If it's found on the fridge, it's fermented. That's a good tip to remember. So, fermented foods, we're adding those to our diet in as many ways as you can. So drinks, so far we've had water and tea, and now we're going to add a new drink, kombucha, which is fermented drink. So get yourself as many things of kombucha as you want, and that can be one of the beverages you consume through the day. And in our bone broth, we're going to add either kimchi if you like a spicy kick, or some sauerkraut if you would prefer it a little bit more subtle. And that's going to be your soup. That's going to be your meal for the day, for your lunch. And yes, there are snacks and other things that you can eat. If while you're eating that, you want to have some vegetables, or you want to have some seed crackers as opposed to wheat crackers, or as opposed to any other form of crackers, you can get seed crackers. I'm even got a recipe that I'm going to try to make my own seed crackers. Haven't done it yet, but seeds are super good. So seeds have proteins, and they also have healthy fats in it. So seeds are a check. Yep. Nuts are a check. You could have some nuts afterwards or with, or you could have your green apple now, because green apples are nice and low in sugar. Or maybe you can have some celery sticks, some other vegetation and things like that. But the primary thing that I want you to focus on is the fact that you're having bone broth, because it's medicine, and the medicine is to heal your leaky gut. And then it is also to feed the little baby bacterias in your tummy, the good ones, all kinds of pre and probiotics. Dinner. What are we going to have for dinner? Dinner, we're going to have a high protein dinner. So this is in alignment with all your ketos diets, your paleo diets, your Mediterranean diets. Is you want your primary thing on your plate, you want to be protein. And when I say protein, again, stay away, because we're eliminating so many carbohydrates, reducing the carbohydrate intake as much as humanly possible, because carbohydrates turn into what? In your stomach? Sugar. What's the first and foremost most important thing to not feed yourself? Sugar. So we're reducing carbohydrates. Look, we've taken away cereals, we've taken away breads, which means we've taken away pancakes, we've taken away donuts, we've taken away all kinds of things. So now we need to up our amount of fats. So we're not going to get a lean cut of meat. We're going to get a nice fat cut of meat. Or we're going to get a fatty fish. Okay, so fatty fishes, eat in abundance, as much as you want fatty fish. You can eat sardines, mackerel. Everybody's going, ew, I don't want to eat that. How about some wild pink or red salmon? Very good for you. How about some cod or orange roughy or things like that? You want to eat like a nice fish, trout, if you live near a river or something, you're a fisherman. Pickerel, good, yummy fishes, or nice cuts of meat that have some nice rippling of natural fats in there for you. I personally love lamb. And lamb tends to be a little bit, you need to worry a little bit less because it's out free roaming, living a happy life. Lamb is. So ethically, I'm happy to eat my lamb because I know it's just gone and wandered around and done lovely things. And then I usually have a large cut of lamb that I can take the lamb bones and make a lamb broth. And then I would have on the side, so half my plate is my protein and half my plate is, because I don't listen to this crisscrossy, you need this much carbohydrate and you need this much and this much, because those food pyramids got me fat. I was eating the pyramid. I was eating the plate. I was eating all of those things. I was eating a lot more, but I was eating that they told me to eat, that I should never have been eating, because a lot of those things are not healthy for us. And so meat and then a veg. I would like to go, when it came to vegetables, here we go. Something else on our do not eat list. Really? More things on our do not, how many is that now? I think we're up to 10 at least. Nightshade vegetables. Not everybody, but a good portion of the population might find nightshade vegetables exceptionally difficult to digest and therefore have an inflammatory response. What are nightshade vegetables? They are vegetables that are eggplant, zucchini, peppers, tomatoes, potatoes. Did I say peppers? Yes. All of those have a little enzyme in it that it's supposed to repel the bugs that come and eat it. And so when we eat it, we're not a bug, we're bigger than a bug, but don't eat me. So nightshades can have an inflammatory response. So I stopped eating nightshades because I was very desperate to cure myself of all my conditions. It's not to say I never eat them, but I don't go out and buy them. If somebody were to serve me a meal and there was going to be a tomato in it, I'm going to go, thank you. That's all I'm going to do. But I'm not going to go out, and I do on occasion eat new potatoes. I do rarely eat zucchini. I do love zucchini, but it's not something that would be a staple. When it comes to vegetation that's a staple in my diet, they tend to be the heavier vegetables, the vegetables that are going to make me feel a little bit more full. So eating a giant plate of salad, although sometimes that's what I do, often, no. I would rather have a nice pile of broccoli or cauliflower or Brussels sprouts or something that's got a little bit more substance to it, which, as I said, I do eat salads, but when I make myself a salad, it's like a gigantic thing. If you want to compress all the lettuce down together into the size of something that's going to fill you up, that's great. Maybe you could roll it up and eat it like that. I just bought myself a juicer, so I'm super excited about that, to add that to my protocol. so that I can juice some of my vegetables. But for the longest time, it was like meat, veg. Keep it simple, stupid. My shopping list went way down. The amount I spent on groceries, even though the grocery prices were going up, went way down. Even when you added into the mix the expense of protein powder and the expense of greens powder, because I was having my greens every day. And that's basically what I live off of. Now, do I deviate? Yes, 100% I deviate now and again. But that is the core of my diet. So I'm going to review for everybody the no-nos list, okay? No sugar. Read every single label. If you are seeing more than 10 grams of sugar on something, that is too much sugar. There's some things that sugar shouldn't even be in, like pasta sauce. Why is there sugar in pasta sauce? There doesn't need to be. There really doesn't need to be. And if you're desperate for sweet, you're a sweetaholic, there are sugar alternatives. So those sugar alternatives, my personal favorite would be xylitol. I also like erythritol. I've tried stevia many times. I find stevia has a weird aftertaste. Monk fruit is another one. So those are some. So if you enjoy your tea or coffee with a spoonful of sugar, replace it with monk fruit or erythritol or xylitol. Or stevia, test it out. You can even, if you are a super sweet tooth and you're like, my downfall is chocolate bars, I can't live without chocolate bars, how are you going to take my chocolate bars? You make them yourself. Did you know that there's very easy recipes to make your own healthy chocolate bars that actually taste way better than that horrible sugary stuff? Quick recipe for chocolate. You want to get a nice, decent cocoa powder. Now, I like dark cocoa powder because it's better for you. The darker the chocolate, the better it is the rule of thumb. But you can get all kinds of different cocoa powders out there. And this is unsweetened raw cocoa powder. And you're going to mix that with coconut oil, because coconut oil is awesome for you. It's super fantastic. Optionally, you can add a little droplet of real vanilla extract, not the fake stuff, but real vanilla extract if you want to. I don't, because it's really expensive, so I don't bother with it. You could crush up some nuts if you wanted to. I've done that. It's super good. I crushed up like coconut meat and made my own version of like a Bounty bar that obviously wasn't a Bounty because it was all kind of mixed together. So we've got, and then when you add your sweetener, which is your xylitol, your stevia, your erythritol, or your monk fruit. You're going to mix that all up together, and I'm sure you'll find this recipe if you look up sugar-free homemade chocolate bars, and then you pour it into little molds, or what I do is I just pour it on a cookie sheet and throw it in the freezer for a little bit, and then it's almond bark, just take a chunk of that and munch on that if you're in dire need for that sweet flavor. No sugar, no wheat. Even better, go no low carb, so no grains at all. No dairy at all. Canola oil, no. Fluoride, no. Chlorine, no. Food colorings, no. Food preservatives, no. And there was one more I said just recently that was a no. I can't remember. Point is, a lot of no-nos. And what are the yes-yeses? The yes-yeses are berries. Lots and lots of berries. Eat a plethora of berries. Non-dairy yogurts. And as well as yogurts, kombuchas, fermented foods that provide probiotics and prebiotics to the bellies. Omega-3 type foods, which are your seeds, nuts, and fishes. high proteins, good quality cuts of meat, healthy, lots of those. Bone broth, yes, yes, yes. In regards to your blended cereal, we want to add on our shopping list chia, hemp hearts, buckwheat sprouts, flax seeds. Maybe throw in some mixed nuts to chomp on. Maybe throw on some cocoa powder to make your own chocolate bars. Coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, all good oils. Maybe sesame oil if you want to have a little zing-a-ding once in a blue moon. Lots of hardy vegetables that grow above the ground. You can remember this. If it grows above the ground, it's going to be less carbohydrate than if it grows below the ground. Above the ground, below the ground. Local fruit, tropical fruit, right? Those are two different ways you can differentiate of like good or bad. And it's not necessarily saying it's bad. It's simply saying higher carbohydrate or higher fructose means higher sugar. Higher sugar means higher inflammation in your body. So that is the keep it simple, stupid diet. If you have any questions about this and what you can or can't eat, feel free to leave me a comment in the description box below. I'm sure I've missed something, possibly. I'm distracted with how many times my phone was telling me storage was full. And with that said, I hope you too can have some of the results that I had and lose the weight that I lost and feel good about yourself and feel healthy again. And that first stretch, I went way down in weight and felt super healthy because, of course, I was balancing the health with exercise. So tomorrow's video may be about exercise again. But then I went through Dark Night of the Soul, which made both. So just be aware, I'm going to add a little bit to the end of this. When you are going through Dark Night of the Soul, your body may not want to eat at all. There were large stretches of time where I was what would be compared to intermittent fasting because I didn't want to eat. So in a spiritual awakening, you will fast. And it won't be necessarily because you're saying to yourself from your egoic mind of, I really think I should try fasting because it's all the rage and, might do me well. It'll be more like this. I'm in my bed. I can't move. This Dark Night of the Soul. I'm not hungry. I don't want to eat anything. I can't even get up to go to the bathroom practically. I hate life. Why are you doing this to me, dear God? Yeah, that's what Dark Night of the Soul looks like in a snapshot view. And so there would be days that I was not eating during Dark Night of the Soul. When it got very bad, I had one friend that was like monitoring for me if I was eating because she was getting concerned about me. I was getting too skinny. And I agreed with her and I thanked her very much. So every single day she would send me a text message and she'd be like, what have you eaten today? And so that's when the smoothies came into existence for me, is like I managed a smoothie. And so I was trying to get as jam-packed, nutrient dense into one drink that I could manage while I was going through Dark Night of the Soul, because the very idea of food. Now I was still hydrating and I was still drinking copious amounts of water and tea. It was good, as well as coconut water. So add this to your shopping list as well, especially if you're in a rough healing phase, is coconut water, because it keeps your electrolytes up. And whilst actually I say that, I'm going to add another fruit to the list for those time periods, which was watermelon. Watermelon was one of the only things I could eat at all. So in my Dark Night of the Soul phase, which, happened after a lot of those food videos that I did, I was consuming the Spiritual Warriors smoothie. There is a video all about that. I was consuming watermelon and I was consuming coconut water. I still consume a lot of coconut water to keep my electrolytes balanced, because as the Kundalini rages through your body, it needs electrolytes to help keep things balanced and in flow. But without question, there were stretches, and I don't know how long my longest one was, to be honest with you, like 5 to 7 days ish, that I would have gone completely without food, other than that smoothie. Like if I managed a smoothie in a day, I was like, yes, I accomplished something. Like just to get down to the kitchen to do that was very, very difficult. Dark Night of the Soul is no joke. It is, you know, yes, you can do comic memes on it, and many people have, and I might do some in the future as well, because we can find comedy in the darkness too. But we need to make sure that we're taking care of our bodies the very best that we can, whilst we are going through periods of this ascension where our body is screaming very loudly, do not feed me. Listen to your body. If you're not hungry, don't force 3 meals a day into yourself. It'll actually slow down the process. Being unfed, because your body and Kundalini can only do so many things at once. Are you building up? Are you feeding yourself? Are you resting and digesting? Or are you burning through trauma at like a rapid rate and doing inner child work and like going through like some crazy times, in which case you don't want to slow it down. I didn't want to slow it down. And if my body was telling me don't eat, I was not eating. I was not searching for things to munch on. And I always knew I was coming out of a round of Dark Night of the Soul when all of a sudden I'd crave potatoes, and I'd be like, oh, I'm craving something starchy. The body wants to pick up on a starch because I haven't had a lot of carbohydrates. And so I would buy myself those little baby new tomato potatoes, and I would make myself some of those. And I was like, yes. Yeah, so I think that's all I have to say in regards to food. If anybody has any questions or would like to book a private one-on-one with me to discuss any particular issues that you might be experiencing with your body health-wise, because it's all related to what you eat. You are what you eat. If you eat unhealthy, you will be unhealthy. If you eat healthy, you will be healthy. It is one and the same. We cannot separate our bodies from what we consume and put into it. So are you Ferrari and giving yourself the best nutritional, functional foods, or are you jalopy that is running off of chip truck fat? Did you know that cars can run off of that? They can, apparently. So with that all said, I look forward to hearing from you. If you would like to book a one-on-one with me, thank you very much for all the likes, shares, subscriptions, and everything else, especially the supers. I love those. If you would like to donate to the channel to keep us going, there's a donate link in the description below, and I am sending you all my absolute love. Peace out.